Hello, today I'm going to talk about the game Star Wars Escape from the Death Star from West End Games in 1990. It's a multiplayer up to 4 players or also a solitaire board game. West End Games does a pretty good job, I think, generally with their components, and this is no exception. Box is well done. Obviously they must have had the license to Star Wars. They have actual images from the interior of the Death Star there. A little bit of action shots. Standard kind of bookshelf size box. So a little bit of theme here. In this innovative multiplayer solitaire game, you take the role of one of the major heroes from the Star Wars movie. You must find your way off the battle station before the Imperials close in. Only Obi-Wan Kenobi and the droids R2-D2 and C-3PO can help you in their flight. Your survival depends on your skill and the Force as you race against time to disengage the tractor beam and reach the Millennium Falcon, your only hope of escape. Escape from the Death Star recreates the dramatic flight of the rebel heroes from the Imperial battle station in Star Wars 4: A New Hope. So it's shown it's got quite an array of components. First of all, it's got this kind of nice storage box. Got these unique dice, which I appreciate. This can hold cards. These are 3 pieces on the board. We'll show how those go. For each of the heroes, and there are 4 heroes, Han, Leia, Luke, and Chewie. And they come with these art on the stands here. It's, okay for the day, obviously. These days it's miniatures and everything, but it works okay. They're a little bit big, especially since the squares they go in them are smaller, so it's interesting the size they chose. But it's functional. And they each of the 4 heroes has a pad of sheet, keep track of different elements like stormtroopers that are following you, etc. It's almost D&D-ish as far as tracking the skills, like constant perception, technical agility, blaster, fire rate. Track your Obi-Wan points, Force, droid, stamina. Then kind of a known area there. In the map, these different colored areas, as it discusses in the book, it's not an actual, it's a schematic, but they don't show detail because that would be impossible and it wouldn't make sense given the scale of the heroes to the Death Star, which is, I'm sure tens of thousands to one. Each different color has a different meaning, and then you kind of draw these action cards. Gray is kind of a general area. This red is security, military, purple, command, green, service orange, technical, blue, hangar, kind of burgundy, and so each of these then corresponds with taking a card. The rule book, pretty well done, 16 pages. And it's a little bit wordy, but all the information is in there that you need. It's got, like a 2-color scheme with purple and black. There's a kind of tracking sheet of Darth Vader points, droid, tractor beam status, Obi-Wan information, and then a summary of hazard and help. So in the map, the Death Star and sectors within it, you place your cards and discard them in these areas. Millennium Falcon is here, which you want to get to, but first you have to disable the tractor beam before you can do that. And kind of color codes here. So it's kind of like a thickish poster paper. Death Star has these squares are different sectors, and it's got a good key here. Different sector types correspond to different cards you would draw, or then there's also some special items that happen in them. So red is security, purple is the military, green command, orange service, light blue technical, the gray is general, black is impassable, the brown are hangars. There's a special one. And their special one is the Darth Vader chamber, where you're more likely to see Darth Vader. Terminals is yellow, and the Millennium Falcon is over here. So the command, general, military, security, service, and technical, they each have unique things that are more likely to happen in them. I don't want to give them all away, but for instance, there's might be a risk of, in this case, a jetpack. You do a a test on one of your skills, and then you see if you succeed or fail. So different skill tests. And there's special. So when you land in those sectors, you draw those cards. Special sector, Darth Vader is more likely to be there. Detention block. That's where they start their escape. Hangars, different flight decks. In the main forward bay, is, of course, where the Millennium Falcon is. So the Millennium Falcon is the ultimate goal. Escape chart up here. The first hero to reach the main forward bay where the Millennium Falcon is no longer follows the normal counter movement rules. Instead, here just rolls a dice, consults the escape chart, and follows the instructions given there, which could be nothing. Stormtroopers, Stormtroopers plus Vader, more Stormtroopers plus Vader. This is the chart card. So the droid status, found means the Stormtroopers have found them. So the droids are connected to the computers, and that's how they help the heroes. And then there's the Darth Vader points track. Certain events that occur in a game cause disturbance, and they're measured in Darth Vader's points. If the mark on the chart reaches game over box, the heroes lose. So Darth Vader sector table, which is here. This table is used if the hero begins the action phase in Darth Vader sector. If dice rolled, the result determined according to the entries of the table. Obi-Wan reminder. This shows when Obi-Wan may be called. And then there's character pads. So there's, obviously a name, record of how many stormtroopers are following you, stamina record, droid point record, the various skills, force points, and the Obi-Wan box. Agility, con indicates how good here is at bluffing, perception, technical, blaster, of course, is blaster, how handy there is. And different characters have different abilities. Rate of fire, is how many blasters the hero can squeeze out each turn. So droid points. Each time a hero gets in touch with a droid, the hero receives information, helps them in the form of droid points. When you get different cards, you have different skills tests you have to pass. Force points, stamina. Stamina is reduced, read 0. Here shares detected the game ends. Obi-Wan box. Each hero may call only once upon the giant to help him. And these are the terminal sector cards. The turn sequence is played in turns and divided in phases. Luke always takes first turn, then it's Han, Leia, and Chewbacca in that order. So each player during the turn goes through the phases. Stormtrooper blaster phase, action phase, movement phase. Darth Vader sectors in each of these areas. Darth Vader is most likely to be found. Then through these certain health cards, entering Darth Vader sector and making a low roll is the only way to reduce the Voider point level. Hero starting the action phase in Darth Vader sector might roll the dice and compares the number in table 1, force with you, somewhat with you, Emperor calls, 4 no effect, and 5 at a Vader point, 6 you get Darth Vader, and the game's over. To winning the game, last one aboard. When 3 heroes are on board, the Falcon, the last man or woman aboard can have any number of stormtroopers in the pursuit, as long as all the other 3 are aboard. If the last one aboard survives the stormtrooper phase, game is over and the heroes won. Escaping the Death Star is largely a team effort. If one hero loses, they'll lose. So one would lose if any hero stamina reaches 0. If hero faces Death Star, you kind of call Obi-Wan. If Darth Vader point reaches, game over. So showing setup here before I get into play. It's pretty straightforward. First of all, each of the 4 player sheets down here. Over here, these game markers actually is skeptical about how well these would work, but I think these work out pretty well. On the Darth Vader points track is 0. Droid status is hidden. Tractor beam status is on. Hazard and help effect summary here for reference. The players, I wasn't sure, they all start off in the detention block AA23. I wasn't sure how that'd work with all of them fitting on there, but actually you can kind of bunch them up okay, so it works out alright. Since the bases are small, you can kind of set them together, and that actually works okay. I was pleasantly surprised by that. And then the rest are you shuffle the sector cards and put in the appropriate spot. The terminal in each of these sections. Then of course and then you just do them according to where it's technical sector, deck, hangar, command sector, military sector, security sector, service sector, general sector. That's set up, and we'll get into play. A few turns into it here, kind of show you where I'm at. The previous turn, Luke went to corridor with the hazard of stormtroopers, so he picked up 7 more. He had a bunch, and he was gradually knocking them down with his blaster, but he had 8, now he jumps up to 50, and his stamina's been getting knocked down by being hit by blasters. Han has a few. Last turn, he was in the terminal here, which he was able to see that's a droid terminal, so that's where he spent his turn. And by being there, he picked up 3 droid points, so he's got 5 now. He has a few stormtroopers after them, but fortunately they haven't been knocking down his stamina. Leia had a hazard, which ended up her losing 1 stamina because she failed in agility. And actually that one, she lost stamina and an agility, which is pretty heavy duty. It was a stun. And then the last, she didn't have any stormtroopers following her, but the last help would have been, she lost them, but she didn't have any following her. Chewbacca has 5 stormtroopers following him. And lastly, he was on a elevator. He had taken an agility test at -1, but instead of doing that, he decided just to spend the 1 DP point to escape the platform before it descends. And so then the turn sequence is Stormtrooper blaster phase, action phase, and then movement phase. First we'll do the Stormtroopers, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca. If you have multiplayers, you do them individually, but since I'm doing all 4 of them, I'll do this phase all together. For the Stormtroopers, you roll 3 dice, and if the value is their number or less, they knock down your stamina 1. And he's got 15, so it's quite a... It's 1. So he's down to 2 stamina, which is a problem. Han only has 5 after him, so he's okay. Chewbacca has 5 after him. He's okay. And then the heroes can return fire. And they roll 2 dice for their blaster score and the number of fires of their fire rate. 7 or less for 3. No. This is Luke. No. He gets 1 of them. So it's knocked down to 14. Which 14 isn't good because that means he's entrapped and he would lose a movement phase. So that's not good. Then Han's going to fire back. So if he gets doubles, he can knock off 2 of them. So fire rate 1, 2, 3. So he's knocked down 3 of them, so that's good. Well, he doesn't have any after her. Chewbacca is 7 with fire rate 3. 1, 2, 3. That's good. So next. And then the action phase. This is where they draw a card, and actually before, and they go in this order: Luke, Han, Leia, Chewbacca. So before Luke does that, he's pretty low in stamina, so he's gonna call on Obi-Wan the one time he gets to call on him. So scratch that off. And one thing of calling Obi-Wan, so he can restore up to 3 stamina, which he will get 3 back. He's still only at 5 though. But since he called Obi-Wan, he can't call him again if you were to see Darth Vader, for instance, or anything. So that's his last time to do that. And then he'll draw his action card, which is a technical sector deck. Medical bay. Well, that's nice. He gets restores 2 stamina. So he's back up to 7. That's great. Han, he's in the terminal sector, so he doesn't get a card this time, but he'll move out of there next time. Leia, she is general, similar, same as last time. Help, Blastors lose all stormtroopers, and she doesn't have any, so that's not going to help her at all. And Chewbacca, and he's now in green, which is command sector. Sensor control, hazard, sensor sweep. Test agility -2 or spend 2 DP to quickly evade the armed security systems. If you fail, you lose 1 stamina, +1 victory Vader point, and 1d6 stormtroopers. So he's already used one of his droid points, so he's only got 1, so he can't do that. So he's got to do an agility roll. To do that, his agility score is 6, but it's at a -2, so he needs a 4 or less. And no, that didn't quite do it. He failed that test, and he loses 1 stamina. There's 1 Vader point, and Vader is already up to 3, so he's moving on up there. And he gets 1d6 stormtroopers. He gets 6 stormtroopers, so he's up to 8. And now we'll do the movement phase. Luke has 14 stormtroopers, which means he's entrapped, so he can't. These would be the areas he'd move, but he can't because he's entrapped, and that's where he is. That's not a good situation for him, and having already called Obi-Wan as well. Han, he can go. He wants to kind of try to get over to help Luke there, but unfortunately he's blocked by these. After the terminal, he must move 1 in any of the 4 directions. He'll move over generally in the direction to help Luke, so he'll go there. Leia, she can go front 3 or left to right 3. She also wants to go over there. Unfortunately, there's these impassable ones. She'll go up here, so she's got kind of a straight shot. And then Chewbacca, so he can go front 2, and he'll do that. He'll move up 2. So that's movement. And I'll do one more here now. Luke has 14 after them. They're going to get a shot in. 12. So fortunately, they didn't hit. But now he can, because they got 15. He's going to fire. Miss. Miss. 3 misses. That's not good for Luke. So then Han only has 2 after him. So with 3 dice, that's not possible. So I'm not even going to try that. Since the best they could do would be 3. He gets to fire back. Nope. Roll out again. Nope. So 1 hit. Leia doesn't have any after her. Chewbacca does. No, they miss. He gets to fire back. Miss. 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 So unlucky this time. He needed 7 or less. So that's the attack. And then the action phase. They draw an action card. Luke. Risk is service shuttle. Test agility. To leap to a moving service shuttle. If he succeeds, he'll lose all the stormtroopers. That's really good. His agility is 7. Excellent. He succeeded in his agility, which means he can move the nearest terminal and lose all his stormtroopers. That's quite excellent. And now he's got 0. Han, he's on a general. Hazard Imperial Guards, do a perception check. It's perception 6. He fails. So he misses his move, and it's 1 Vader point increased. Leia is on general. Hazard security suit. Do an agility check to leap across the opening. Her agility is 5 because it got reduced from before. She fails. -1 perception and must move to the nearest security sector, so that's not good. Security sector is red, so it'll be here. Chewbacca, he's in general also. Risk restricted zone. Test perception very quickly to classified area. Option of using a DP, but he's not. Perception is, okay, well, average. But if he succeeds, he'll lose all stormtroopers. He fails. He gets 1d6 stormtroopers. So, he only gets 1 more, so there you go. That's Star Wars Escape from the Death Star from West End Games from 1990. I didn't have high expectations going into it because, like I said, Star Wars is pretty commercialized, but It is from one of the original 3, so that's good. I was very pleasantly surprised. It plays very well in solitaire. In fact, the rules don't change for solitaire versus multiplayer. And it flows really well. West End does a good job with components. There's a lot of strategy involved, and you have different risks for your different actions. I like how you track your different ability points. That's pretty neat too. I'd highly recommend it. I give it an 8 out of 10.